Jonathan India, a player that has been talked about for the Seattle Mariners for years now. And apparently, the Reds are willing to trade the second baseman. The Mariners need a second baseman. But should they go out and make a trade for Jonathan India? Let's talk about it. Jonathan India is a former Rookie of the Year, and in 2024 through 2026, he'll be in arbitration. So he has 3 years of club control, plus, of course, what you would get out of him for the rest of 2023. He was a first-round draft pick, 5th overall in 2018. And Mark Feinsand reported that the Reds are reportedly willing to trade Jonathan India, but that is in order to obtain young, controllable starting pitching. And what do the Mariners have? They have young, controllable starting pitching. However, it does not make sense, in my opinion, to trade any of that for Jonathan India, but first we need to see why. So far in 2023, Jonathan India has been worth .9 WAR. He's hit 14 home runs. He's hitting .251, .336, .410 with an OPS plus of 97. India has not had an OPS plus north of 100 since his Rookie of the Year campaign in 2021, where he hit 21 home runs. Last year, he hit 10 home runs with 41 RBI in 103 games and a .249, .327, .378 slash line. Looking at India's Baseball Savant page, you can see that he is very heavy on the pull side. He doesn't hit the ball the other way all that much, at least not in 2023. But he also does not chase pitches. He doesn't whiff all that much, and his K percentage is about league average, but he also doesn't walk that much. He doesn't hit the ball particularly hard with a 40% hard hit rate, and his expected batting average is also in the 48th percentile. But truly, it's his defense that leaves a lot to be desired. He is in the 22nd percentile of outs above average and the 17th percentile in terms of arm strength. To put that into perspective, Kolten Wong has a better outs above average than Jonathan India does this year, albeit Kolten Wong's arm strength is in the 3rd percentile, my goodness. And in my opinion, the real risk of trading for Jonathan India comes with that defense. He's not great defensively. Of course, working with Perry Hill could probably change that, but it's going to cost way too much. You're going to get 3.5 years of Jonathan India, and allegedly he is a good leader in that clubhouse over in Cincinnati, and they have plenty of infielders, including Christian Encarnacion Strand, Matt McLain, etc., etc. Of course, Noelvi Marte. I would be more inclined to acquire or try to acquire Noelvi Marte back instead of trying to get Jonathan India. I don't know what it would take for a Jonathan India trade, but anything more than Emerson Hancock is too rich for me, and even then, Emerson Hancock might be too rich for me. Jonathan India is a fine player, but he is nothing more than an average second baseman. WRC plus, OPS plus, and his WAR prove that. He's still just 26. He very well could come into his prime and start hitting 20 home runs a year, but we all know that, especially for right-handed hitters, home runs at T-Mobile Park aren't easy to come by. The infield for the Reds is pretty crowded with, again, Encarnacion Strand, Spencer Steer, Matt McLain. You have Noelvi Marte on the cusp. Of course, Ellie De La Cruz can play the infield as well. These guys are much more important to that team than Jonathan India is, other than his leadership. And for the Mariners at second base, you have Kolten Wong and Jose Caballero who have been meh, but you also have Dylan Moore who's been heating up quite a bit. I don't think that Dylan Moore should be playing every single day, and especially with the Mariners' need for an outfielder right now, there's a possibility that he'd be out there more often than not. But trading anything more than Emerson Hancock for Jonathan India, instead of just going out maybe even in the offseason and finding someone of similar value, you'd be doing yourself a disservice, especially when, of course, you're going to have to shut down Brian Wu soon. You don't know what you have with Marco Gonzalez. You don't know what you have right now with Robbie Ray. So you're one injury away, or even the shutdown of Brian Wu, from Emerson Hancock being your number 5 starter. Now, that could all change. Of course, the trade deadline is just a few days away. There's a chance that the Mariners go out and make a trade for a back-end starter, a left fielder, some sort of second baseman. Of course, Paul DeJong was not starting in the lineup yesterday for the Cardinals. By the time this video comes out, he may have very well already been traded and possibly to the Mariners. I don't love that trade either, if that is the case, unless you're giving up like $1 for Paul DeJong. Again, Jonathan India is a fine player, but even giving up Emerson Hancock is too much for him, in my opinion. If you want like Taylor Dollard, sure. Tyler Guff, sure. But I don't think I would really want to give up any more than that for Jonathan India. And honestly, I don't think that he's the answer for the Mariners at second base. Although we did come up with quite a few answers at second base in Joe and I's trade deadline video. It's on the screen now. I want you guys to check that one out. Appreciate you guys watching this one, and go Mariners.